Alright, welcome to MyCustomXbox.com's tutorial on how to reassemble a controller once you've taken it apart and done with it what you want, whether it's a mod or a paint job. I'm going to start by doing the hardest part first, in my opinion, which is reattaching the triggers. These little buggers were definitely hard to get off, and they are definitely the hardest part to get back on. So we want to make sure we have the right side, and it will only go on one way. You're just going to tweak it to the side, just place that in there, line it up, see we're good to go. Now this is a tricky part. What you want to make sure you do is you want to get the spring in. The way I like to do it is to attach the spring to the trigger first, and then slightly push down here if you just aim it with your finger. And then I take my trusty little screwdriver and make sure it lands up on top. There we go. And so now we're going in there. And then this part usually might just require a little bit of separation, but then we're back in there. We have a working trigger. Do the same to the other side. Drop the spring in, line it up, collapse it. I've just found that it just never quite goes on right unless I direct it with the screwdriver. And right in there. Now the hard part to this whole thing is actually attaching these arms, these rod arms, to this without breaking it. Once again, I like to use my trusty little screwdriver. And if you can see this, I like to press down towards the bottom. There seems to be a notch on the controller. That's usually where I like to attach. And then you're going to push over on the actual trigger. So you're going to get this over here, and there it goes. Just pop right back in. Same thing with the other side. Here we go. I'm going to pull it up and pop. We're back in. We have functioning controllers. Hardest part finished. That's good to go. Next, we're going to take the top sync button / LBRB buttons and put those on. If you detached the sync button to do a paint job, you obviously broke the plastic weld that we've talked about before. You're going to want to reattach that with super glue or some kind of glue that will adhere to plastic, just so you can get the rebound. It will work without it, but it's about a 50-50 shot when you put it back together if you have not reattached it somehow, because you've lost the spring in that sync button. The button inside, the internal button, will usually push it back out, but it's just not worth the hassle. I would take the time and actually glue it back in. You saw me just reattach this. You're just going to find those two prongs, line it up correctly, push it in, reattached, good to go. What we'll start off with next is we actually want to attach the D-pad. And so the easy way to do this is when you flip this over and look at it, there are two notches in the D-pad backside. They only go in one way, and that's at the 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Then we could take the D-pad, and there's a couple little tabs in there, and you just line those up in the right spot and just insert it. Whammo, we're in. You then take the small little tiny silver screws that they give you, and I like to just drop them in and then tighten them down. There we go. Take the next one, tighten it down. All right, now we're going to load the buttons into the controller. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to start. Microsoft's made it really easy. They only go one way, but if you get confused, you can look at the front. I'm going to drop our B button in, and you can see that it won't drop until you actually have it in the right spots. And boom, drops right in. Y goes on top. There we go. A and X. Great. And then we'll do a start and select. Great. And last but not least, our Xbox button. And this also goes in only one way, so you can find that really easily. Drop it in there. And we're good to go. So we have them on the front. Now, we are going to want to place the pads that we talked about, making sure you have them in the right spot and everything. Right in there, that kind of holds the buttons in there. Place this pad over this. And we're ready to start throwing circuit boards and everything in. I usually like to start with putting the base in, just because I found that if you wait any farther past this step, it gets to be a real big pain in the butt. So we're going to attach that. Go ahead and attach the top, the LB and the RB. So we're starting to get the basis of a controller here. You can put the packs in right now, the rumble packs or not. I'm going to skip that for right now. I'm just going to stick this in. So now we have our board going in. And you want to make sure it's not on the table, because then it's getting pressure and it pops out and you're frustrated. You don't know what's going on. It's because the table's working against you. The big rumble pack goes on the right. Go ahead and reattach that to the circuit board. The smaller one goes on the left. You want to have your red and black wires up. There you go. Reattach that. We're looking good. We're really close to being done here. Now, this part can be really tricky or can be really easy. Just depends on the controller. They're all finicky. You want to insert with the triggers first. There you go. And then, if you can see right in here, the battery contacts need to slide into place. And that sometimes can be the hardest part, just to get those lined up. You'll still have a space. You just push down a little bit. Some of them will snap. Some of them will just slide in. Either way, you just want to make sure you have a good, solid connection there. And got to use your Torx screwdriver to get these in. Go ahead and assemble all 7. Also, you're going to want to take, if you had done your paint job or whatever, this is where you can actually take your serial number, reattach it in here. And in the painting video, we go over how to make your little mask for the Xbox sticker above it, because that one doesn't come out nearly as easy. Put your battery pack back on, and you're good to go. You've got a controller. Just make sure you put all 7 screws back in. You're going to want to make sure that it turns on and it looks like everything's working properly. I don't have an Xbox here to show you that, but sync it. Make sure all your buttons are working before you put all the screws in and before you put that serial number on, just because afterwards it's a big pain in the butt because you have to disassemble everything. Anyway, if you have any questions, once again, there's a PDF at MyCustomXbox.com. Has detailed pictures and step-by-step directions. And let us know if we missed anything. We'll try and cover it. Thank you very much.